Oh, wait. Çek mumu! Mumu çek yukarı! Camlar! Camlar! Bırak camını!
Some encounters don't come with clear threats, just a steady feeling that something isn't right. A figure appearing on a trail and vanishing into the trees, and something unseen pushing against a van in complete silence. Nothing is fully confirmed, but nothing feels normal either. So when the environment itself starts changing, would you trust what you see or what you feel? On an overcast night beneath a full moon, YouTuber CJ Faison from the channel CJ Faison films this footage uploaded on September 15th, 2022 as he and Chris Beard guide their van onto the familiar burnt bridge. The second vehicle behind him, known as the motivated van, is where they intend to stay through the night. They stop on the haunted bridge, frequently shown on his channel, a regular setting in the Burnt Bridge series. Each time they return to Burnt Bridge, something unusual and intense seems to occur. This visit happens under a full moon with heavy clouds, and the atmosphere already feels set. Local tales suggest past rituals may have opened something here, leaving the surrounding woods with a lingering, unsettling presence. The earliest signs show up through electronics. A device in CJ's pocket turns on by itself, giving off a metallic noise before he even touches it. The surroundings already feel reactive.
Very clear. What the hell is that? I don't know. Jeez. How did that turn on in my back pocket?
Come on. There's no way.
That's weird.
Did you see that?
Yeah, what was that? This is getting creepy. This is getting really, really creepy.
Then distant gunfire cuts through the silence. Two sharp cracks echo from the nearby trees.
He's down there right now. He is getting ready to do the Estes method. Bro, that's a gunshot, bro. That's two. Now I got a car coming. Okay, so as you all can see, I've repositioned the camera just a little bit. We heard gunshots. We sat here for like 10 or 15 minutes. Nothing else heard. So if there's any spirits here on this bridge, can you let my friend Chris know what your name is first?
I said it's me.
That's Chris, way down there. The light on the right side of the bridge.
Leave.
I just heard leave. What year did you pass away and why are you here?
Trouble. Regret. You shouldn't be here.
Can you tell me your name?
It was them.
Can you go touch my friend?
I feel like someone just touched me. I thought CJ or someone was over here. That was weird. Pay attention.
Okay, pay attention to what though? What would make you upset? What if I said the word burn or fire? Does that upset you?
Stop what you're doing.
The situation builds as they use a spirit box, its static forming a tone that seems to warn them to stop. They later return to the van to rest, but the situation shifts from distant to physical.
Oh, wait, dude. The van was just swaying side to side, dude.
We should go out there and look for it.
I'm not going out there, dude.
Is the van still rocking?
Feel it. There's no way it's that windy right now. Dude, that's not a good idea, bro.
You're not going there?
No. Dude, you should not be going out there. Why don't you close the door, dude?
I ain't forcing them to do anything you don't want to do. I don't know why the camera just got blurry, but it did.
Anything?
Did we just like imagine that happening or something?
There's no way. I felt like I was gonna fly out of my seat.
The van begins swaying side to side despite the air being still. The entire vehicle rocks hard as if something unseen is pushing it. CJ steps outside alone onto the bridge, trying to trigger a reaction. Almost instantly, a loud strike hits the van, a heavy blow against the window, followed by a shadow appearing across the glass.
What was that? Okay. Okay. What did you see or what did you hear? What happened?
I went and stood on the bridge. I swear on my life, Chris, I held my hands like this. I said, if there's anything good or evil here, I want to invite you to come here.
What is that?
I don't know.
Oh, it's not the van.
I'm getting to my fucking floor, is what I'm doing. There's gotta be somebody, right?
You wanna go out there and look? Cause I don't.
No, I'm fucking laying in the floor. I'm not getting the fuck up until the fucking morning, Chris.
There's somebody out there, bro. I literally just looked like there was like a figure standing in the middle of the door.
Fucking A. Dude, it banged on the fucking window.
They rush back inside and lock the doors. The sense of something outside remains strong. At one moment, a shape resembling a figure is seen near the door. Unable to identify it, they decide not to wait until morning and leave immediately. Moments like this often fall between real danger and misinterpretation, where fear influences perception and small details feel larger. But when events stack one after another, it leads to a simple question. Was it only stress and coincidence, or was something actually there watching them? This camping encounter takes place on November 28th, 2024, as Moxley and Ming from Moxley Paranormal World make their way up the dark slopes of Pendle Hill.
Right, so we're heading up to our camp spot now, up into Pendle Hill for the night. Look how rocky it's getting now.
The climb is difficult as the terrain grows increasingly rocky, and they keep moving upward with a plan to spend the night camping. The ground beneath them is tied to the events of the 1612 witch trials, where 10 people were accused of murder through witchcraft and later executed by hanging. The ascent is exhausting, and during the climb, they come across a strange abandoned trailer containing animals in the middle of the wilderness. Its presence feels out of place, almost like a quiet warning tied to the location's past.
What the hell?
What the hell?
It's a van.
There's a van in front of us.
I was so nervous then walking up to this. No! What is in that? Oh, that's a bit odd.
Yeah.
The trailer with an animal in it. That is very, very unusual.
Leaving that in the middle of nowhere.
I know, yeah.
The hill behind them shows how far they have already traveled, but the discovery leaves an uneasy impression as they continue forward. As the moon disappears from view, a dark silhouette forms along the trail. It remains there for a brief moment watching before fading back into the surrounding trees. The figure seems to move quickly, shifting from the path into the woods, appearing again just as suddenly as it vanished.
What is it? It was over this side first, and it was like it moved fast through on the path behind us, and then it was in the woods. There it is again. So we were literally just finished setting everything up. Just sat down to have a quick drink, and then just behind me, at the wall, it was like tick, 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 like something moved past. Ming, keep your torch there. Yeah. There was something moved down there then.
Right.
It was like a shadowy figure.
Right, okay.
Hello? I swear, I just seen something move down here. Looks like the silhouette of a person. Is there someone here? Is there someone back there? I know I'm not losing my mind. A silhouette of a person stood here when I looked over.
Right.
And then as soon as you put the torch over, there's nobody here.
Right.
That caught us off guard, that.
Yeah.
That really caught us off guard.
The noise is
The area is checked, but nothing is found, even though the presence feels close and undeniable. The atmosphere begins to change as they continue attempting communication.
Fred,
We need you to help us.
we need you to help us.
Wow.
What would you like help with? You the people that were wrongfully accused of witchcraft.
It sounds like we're surrounded. The way things are happening.
That's that we heard that earlier on. And then I seen that shadowy figure over there.
Yeah, that was down there, wasn't it?
Yeah. He said, we need you to help us. Who needs help?
Understanding.
I do have to say the silence out here it's very eerie. Not too long ago, while sat over there, you were hearing the birds chirping away, flying around.
That's what we were looking in the trees for before when we heard them
Yeah.
noises.
Police.
We're not police in the area. We're just here to communicate if we can, and you're willing to do so.
Right, we can keep hearing walking. Or what sounds like walking.
Right, that sounded like
Mistrust.
what? What did I say?
Mistrust. That'd
wonder-
fit in here with the story of Pendle Hill.
Yeah.
Because she wrongfully accused her entire family.
Right.
Mistrust.
The silence of the area becomes more unsettling. Earlier, natural sounds like birds are no longer present, replaced by an unnatural stillness. Occasional noises continue to echo through the darkness, difficult to locate and impossible to confirm visually. Words received through the device hint at mistrust, matching the historical events tied to the location. The spirit box intensifies, producing a clearer response that includes a plea for help, followed by the name of Alice Nutter, one of the figures executed during the witch trials. As the night deepens, a distant sound of laughter emerges from near a stream, adding to the growing tension. Back at the tent, the laughter is heard again from the same direction, even though nothing is visible near the water.
Right, so I literally just sat back at the tent, just talking. And that was laughing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we heard coming from this way.
There's nothing down there because that's where the stream is.
Hear it? Hello!
The area remains empty, yet the sound is distinct. Soon after, the sensation of movement begins to surround the campsite. Footsteps cold and unseen circle the tents while the air grows heavier. The feeling becomes overwhelming, and Moxley experiences a strong instinct to leave the mountain immediately. Moments like this can feel real even when there's no clear proof, especially in a place filled with history and isolation. But when the sounds, movements, and responses all line up, it leaves a simple question. Was this just the mind reacting to the setting? Or was something else actually there with them? In the calm setting of the Ngala Reserve, the moment the lion suddenly moves forward, any sense of safety becomes uncertain.
When they're full, their stomachs stand like this. It's okay.
The space that once felt controlled quickly shifts, and the distance no longer feels secure. Lions can react quickly when they feel curious or focused on movement, and even a small change can trigger a response. So, what do you think could have happened next? Imagine dealing with a large, fearless bears walking straight into your work area. How would you safely manage an apex predator that seems too aware to fall for simple traps? In some regions near oil fields, wild bears have been appearing more frequently and gradually losing their fear of humans, forcing people to find ways to handle the situation without hunting. One approach involves an automatic trap cage designed so the animal can enter on its own and be safely contained, reducing the risk of dangerous close contact. In this case, the bear showed no urgency. At first, it stayed outside, reaching a paw into the cage as if testing its surroundings. Every movement was slow and cautious, suggesting it had not lowered its guard. After observing for a while, the animal moved closer but eventually pulled away quickly, disappearing back into the forest before anyone could react. Fortunately, it did not become aggressive or cause any harm. Bears can be cautious and highly aware of unfamiliar objects. So what do you think it was sensing in that moment? He camped alone in the Kalahari wilderness, where wildlife was a normal part of daily life. The night before had been calm with a campfire sunset and familiar animals passing near the campsite. The next morning, after waking up, as he unzipped his tent to step out, the scene in front of him changed instantly. Young male lions were moving directly toward the campsite with no growling and no rush, just the quiet curiosity of top predators. He slowly backed away into his Land Cruiser, allowing the lions to enter the camp. They sniffed around the tent, pulled out chairs, and carried off a few items, acting as if the space belonged to them. From such a close distance, he could only watch and wait for them to leave. It seemed like everything had settled, but while packing up his tent, another discovery sent a chill down his spine.
But to add to that experience, upon packing up that camp, I rolled up my tent and only to discover I had been sleeping on a very nice big puff adder. Obviously, the temperatures were very cold. It was just 0 and just below 0 on a few nights. It was midwinter in the Kalahari Desert, and puff adder decided to seek shelter underneath my tent and warm up, and he was very lethargic. Anyway, it was a bit nerve-wracking to know that I'd been sleeping on a puff adder for the last few days. It was literally under where my mattress was on the ground. So,
for several nights, he had been sleeping directly above a large puff adder snake. Because of the cold weather, it had moved under the tent to stay warm right beneath where he slept. After packing up, it became clear how close it had been the entire time, hidden under the ground sheet without being noticed. What do you think could have happened if things had gone slightly differently? The next encounter in Turkey left people struggling in a very different way. As soon as the report came in, authorities arrived at the scene, setting up barriers, deploying nets, and using catch poles. Every possible method was put into action, but the problem was that this pig was simply too fast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
They cleared barriers as if they were not there, slipped into nets, only to throw handlers off balance, and even injured one person during the chase. Each time it seemed cornered, it would suddenly push forward and escape within seconds, making every effort feel ineffective. After nearly 4 hours of trying, they were forced to stop, not because they had caught it, but because they simply could not. Animals like this can react quickly when stressed or trapped, using speed and unpredictability to escape. So what do you think could have been done differently? Handling large wild boars damaging farms and crops is not simple, especially as they appear more often and become increasingly aggressive. In one recorded situation shared by the YouTube channel Camp AV Balik on January 6th, 2025, once it realized it had been noticed, a boar suddenly charged out at high speed, ready to react at any moment. Dogs were released to help manage it, but the situation quickly turned tense when one was injured during the approach.
Köpeği çaldı lan.
Burayı açır mı ya?
Köpeği çaldı.
Those nearby had to keep their distance and coordinate carefully, knowing that even a small mistake could push everything out of control.
Bir kısmını çektim de düşürken çekemedim çünkü arkamdaydı. Önüme geç.
Öyle yaptım ya.
Kızım domuz bu tarafa geliyordu. Sen domuzu görmedin, ben gördüm.
It was a confrontation that showed wild boars are not just destructive, they can become a serious threat when cornered face to face. Animals like this can react quickly when they feel trapped, using sudden movement to defend themselves. So what do you think could have happened if it got any closer? What seemed like a normal workday at a construction site in rural Bolu, Turkey, quickly turned into something unexpected when workers discovered a brown bear trapped underground. At first, only a paw was visible, clawing up through the mud, But as they dug further, the bear's head appeared roaring and thrashing as it tried to escape the confined space. The noise of the excavator made it more agitated as it kept reaching out with its claws and reacting aggressively. Realizing the danger, the workers stopped construction and shifted their focus to helping carefully using the excavator to widen the hole. After several tense minutes, the bear managed to dig with its own claws and finally pulled itself free, then quickly disappeared back into the forest. There was no moment of recognition, just an animal that had escaped death leaving, as if it had never trusted the humans behind it. One night in an abandoned cemetery, everything begins normally, until the sounds, the cold, and a single footprint don't align with what should be there. What would you do if the deeper you went, the less things made sense? The video comes from The Journey is the Destination, a UK-based channel that explores abandoned places and historic sites. The investigations are filmed in real time with very little added commentary and a focus on direct spirit communication. This footage was recorded on October 6, 2024 in Stage Pond, United Kingdom, an abandoned stagecoach settlement from the 1800s with a nearby cemetery.
Not 100% sure what's going on, but I mean, even last time as Debbie and I turned our cameras off and we're walking back to the cars, it sounded like something got thrown at us. I can't wait to see what you all catch. Thank you so much for watching. Let's get into this journey, my friends. So this is another one of those 1800s ghost towns, and it was on a stagecoach line, which is how it got its name. And this road here would have been the main road going into town, and the cemetery was out here. Now, during the winter, when I can actually get back into the woods and stuff, we found a bunch of metal objects and things that were scattered all through there. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get into any of those wooded areas now. I mean, as you can see, this is kind of what the woods look like, but we'll see. This is one of those places that I honestly have been scared of, but every time I've come to this cemetery, crazy stuff has happened, so I've been really scared to actually go to the town and see what we find down there. But after hearing those knocks and that kind of stuff, it just made me have to come out here and see what's going on.
The investigator enters the Stage Pond Cemetery alone at night, returning to a location where unexplained activity has been experienced before. Past incidents involving distant knocks, sounds in the trees, and objects being thrown are recalled as the path continues through overgrown trails. Stage Pond was once a functioning stagecoach town in the 1800s, but now remains largely abandoned. The area feels tense with subtle noises surrounding the space, and the sense of unease grows stronger the deeper the path goes.
Whoa. I just walked into, I mean, holy smokes. My leg hair is standing on end and I have bug spray on. It is ice cold right here. Hello? I thought I just heard somebody say something. Why the hell is it so cold right here? What the heck is going on? Both of my legs are hair standing on end right now. And it's 77 degrees, 76 degrees. Makes me wonder if there's... I haven't used this in a minute, but...
While moving through the cemetery, a sudden cold sensation forms around the legs despite the mild temperature. At the same time, the feeling becomes physical, with hair standing on end. Faint voices seem to come from different directions, even though no one else is present.
That was just a gigantic boom noise. This looked like there was a woman standing right there. Holy smokes. That's very interesting to me because, I mean, obviously I'm back here and I got goosebumps up and down both of my legs. So to get K2 readings, it seems like somebody might have been murdered on the road into town or out of town, however you want to look at it. Like there was a woman standing right here. There's even, look at that. There's even a footprint right here. Holy crap. There's one footprint. There's no other footprints. There is literally one footprint right here.
A loud and unexplained boom echoes through the nearby woods. Almost immediately after, there's a brief sense that someone is standing close by, but when the area is checked again, nothing is there, leaving the moment without a clear explanation.
That I'm maybe not thinking of because I'm out here paranoid alone in the woods. Why there would be one, what looks like woman's shoe print in the ground in a place where I thought I just saw a woman? I mean, I'm here alone tonight. There's nobody here with me. And it seems like there would have been more than one footprint if somebody had walked through there. Like, what?
Not long after a single woman's shoe print is found in the dirt, there are no other human tracks nearby, only animal prints surrounding it. The isolated footprint closely matches the figure that seemed to appear moments earlier, adding to the confusion of the situation. As the investigation continues, the equipment begins to behave unusually.
Can you see that? This is supposed to have 7 bars. It's already down to 3. They've been taking a whole bunch of power from this flashlight. Is there a portal out at this town? Where is it at? As fast as this flashlight's dying, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to be out here. How much is... Oh, it's a motorcycle. Oh my God, that scared me at first. Morris, are you still with me?
Harmony. Died in battle.
You died in battle? Were you part of the Civil War skirmishes? Yeah, all my lights are dying all of a sudden. Like, I can't see a damn thing out here. And I know there was...
Flashlights drain power faster than expected, and sounds of footsteps and movement begin to come from different directions. During attempts at communication, references to younger deaths and past conflict appear to surface. Soon after, objects are thrown nearby, forcing a quick decision to leave the area. With equipment failing and activity increasing, the investigation comes to an abrupt end. The site is left behind without clear answers, but with a lasting sense of unease about what may have been present in the darkness. Sometimes when small details start to connect, the situation can feel more intense, even without clear proof. If everything had a simple explanation, why did so many things begin to happen at the same time? The footage is taken from Rick and his Vanna UK-based Van Life channel that follows solo travel, behind-the-scenes film set locations, and moody woodland environments. Rick's content focuses on real-time exploration, blending quiet moments with personal reflection as he moves through unfamiliar places. This video was filmed on November 11th, 2025 in Bourne Woods, Farnham, United Kingdom.
Another weekend, another film set. Hollywood are in town filming a film called, it's a period horror called Werewolf. We'll get into this a little bit later on about me and werewolves, but this film has got that guy in it, Defoe, who was in Platoon, period horror, clearly about werewolves, and apparently in this woodland they have built a whole village. Filming is about to start, but the plan for today is to go and have a little wander up there, see if we can see any filming taking place. Hopefully we don't bump into a werewolf on the way, and then find a park up for tonight, get some dinner on, and then go for a midnight walk in the dark. Don't know why I'm doing this to myself. I really don't know why I'm doing this to myself. I'm petrified and kind of believe in werewolves. WW cars, WW crowd cars. So we're parked up, let's go for a wander. I've heard this film set's pretty epic, to be honest with you. Let's go and have a mooch, let's go for a walk. It's a long walk to get there as well. Right, so here we are in Bourne Woods. Good setting. How spooky does that look? Let's be honest. Already. So there's a security geezer just down there on the gate, just checking people as they come through, but apparently you're allowed to walk through here if you want to, on foot. Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, I can't remember.
Rick arrives at Bourne Woods to check out a film set being used for an upcoming werewolf movie. The location is expansive, with an entire village built deep within the forest, including a church and a graveyard. As he makes his way toward it, he notices security staff, warning signs, and muddy paths that give the area a restricted and uneasy feel. He points out that the woods have been featured in well-known productions like Band of Brothers Gladiator and Jurassic World, and reflects on how familiar places can feel completely different when transformed into something darker. The dense forest-quiet surroundings and detailed set design build a tense atmosphere as he gets closer.
Bloody hell, look at this. They weren't wrong. Building the whole town. So you can see over there that they built this massive church with some kind of graveyard in it as well. That looks proper spooky, doesn't it? In the trees, let me show you. It's incredible what they can do, how they can make this look so different on the screen. I bet it looks really spooky at night. There's lots and lots of people around there. Don't know if we're allowed to film, but we're going to carry on until we're told not to. Oh my days, there is security everywhere. Just down there. Cannot go any further. Health and safety, because there's lots of moving vehicles and stuff like that. They've got forklifts and everything. Plus it's about that thick in mud. There's quite the operation going on. So there you go, the film is due for release on the 25th of December 2026. So if any of you watching this, and then you're going to watch the film, you've seen behind the scenes a little bit.
He continues moving carefully toward the village and church, filming the graveyard and nearby props. The set appears highly realistic with aged stone textures and layouts that blend naturally into the forest. Security presence and restricted zones keep him at a distance, while the silence adds to the unsettling mood.
That skinned werewolf.
Rick then comes across a skinned werewolf prop hanging from a tree, and it immediately unsettles him. He explains that werewolves have always frightened him, and encountering something like that alone in the woods has a stronger impact than expected.
What the hell? I didn't like that at all. I'm going back. Going back. Didn't like that at all. Did not like that at all.
Later that night, Rick steps out of the van for a short walk, but heavy rain mist and darkness quickly reduce visibility. The tension builds rapidly, and he chooses to return to the van instead of continuing. He shares that his fear of werewolves traces back to a childhood camp prank involving a costume which still affects him. Even though the film set is staged and controlled, the dark woods isolation and realistic props are enough to trigger genuine fear. He reflects on how atmosphere alone can create real fear even without any actual danger. The video ends with Rick praising Bourne Woods as a strong filming location, while noting how easily familiar places can feel disturbing once they are changed. Some viewers think the fear comes more from the setting than anything real, while others feel the reaction shows how strong the mind can be in the dark. When everything around you feels off, would you trust logic or your instincts? That's it for tonight. Which moment creep? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story, share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.